Hello everyone, my name is Burger Brush and today I want to go over my Lacerate Berserker that is a part of Project Builds. Project Builds is a project where I try to make a viable character out of every single ascendancy in the game and where the character is playable from league start to endgame content. Every build will be divided into different phases that represents a different time in the league. Phase 1 will be league starter and the first week of the league. Phase 2 is the second week of the league, and Phase 3 is the third week of the league. That means that every build will be playable as a league starter character, as they will have a budget viable option, and as you progress further, you will obtain more currency to invest into the build and push further into harder content. Today we're going over the Berserker Ascendancy, and the skill I have chosen for this Ascendancy is the Lacerate skill. Lacerate is basically your character slashing in front of himself, causing two waves to go out in front of you, causing damage to the enemies. Lacerate overall is a pretty strong skill and it's very good for clearing most of the time. What most people use Lacerate for is for bleed as well, and they use, for example, Lacerate on a Gladiator Ascendancy to cause bleed and then make packs explode. You can also play some form of bleed with this skill right here as well and on this character, but that's not really what I'm focusing on. I'm just focusing on using Lacerate as a skill for clearing and then using it as well for boss killing, as it actually has pretty high damage potential. The Berserker Ascendancy is mainly known for its incredibly high DPS, or the fact that he can use War Cries as a utility as well. For this build, I have chosen to not play with War Cries, but just to play the pure DPS form. And sadly, playing Berserker in this way enables a lot of DPS, but it comes at a cost. And the cost is the fact that you don't really have any form of defenses. Most of the information about this build will be found in the guide on the forum, such as information regarding the bandits in Act 2, the ascendancy choices, the skill tree, gem links, gear, path to building and all those things, and mainly there will be information regarding what gear you want to have in Phase 1, what gear you want to upgrade to in Phase 2, and what gear you want to upgrade to in Phase 3. Right now I'm going to talk a little bit about the gear, and we're going to see how far our progress so far, and then I'm going to show a video of me killing Awakener, a Sirus as well. So for starters, I'm using a Terminus S 6-linked sword. I am like in the end phase of Phase 2 in terms of gear right now. I'm using Lacerate, melee physical damage, Fortify, Brutality, Impale, and Multi-Strike. Then I am using Molten Shell and Cosmic Damage Taken. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm a lazy person. Self-casting Molten Shell or having Vol Molten Shell is great, but I'm just lazy and I just want to let it do its own thing. I then have Leap Slam linked with no form of faster attacks or anything like that, because when we use Blitz we gain so much attack speed that you're going to Leap Slam like a maniac anyway. And then I have Precision. I then have Blood and Sand, Blood Rage, Dread Banner, and Berserk. Obviously all these gems are supposed to be level 20, but I kind of just made the character and just started smashing straight away. Remember, when you play this build is that you want to have Flesh and Stone, which I have over here as well. I have Flesh and Stone linked with Maim, and then I have Cooling Strike and Ancestral Warchief together as well, just for some extra damage and help with Cooling Strike for bosses. But the one thing you want to remember is that when you play with Flesh and Stone and Blood and Sand is that you can alternate between Sand Stance and Blood Stance. And the main thing is that Blood Stance does a ton more DPS and Sand Stance gives us a larger AoE. So for map clearing you want to use Sand Stance, and for bosses you want to go into Blood Stance to do more damage single targets. I'm also using a Combs Harp just for a juicy amount of life. I got 2 great steel rings here with a good amount of damage, life and resists. This one as well, some juicy life, juicy resists, and good damage. I have not used Catalyst on this one yet though. And then I also have a amulet that I've allocated Fatal Blades, which is this one here, which gives us a disgusting amount of DPS, so I always suggest allocating this. And I have some physical damage, I have some global crit multi, and some good amount of resist as well. Sadly no life here, but I've opted in for the non-channeling skills, have -9 total mana cost. So my last rate doesn't really cost too much mana. I have a Crown on the Inward Eye, nothing special, really cheap, just gives me a little bit of damage and a good amount of life and stuff like that, you know. Spike gloves for the damage with some attack speed and flat fist along with life. Just a great amount of DPS from this. Boots, life, resist, movement speed, nothing too crazy. And then I've opted in for Perseverance Vanguard belt. And the reason why I've done this is because when you have Fortify, you also have Onslaught. So this gives us a great damage boost. And it gives us overall faster map clearing because we get attack speed and, you know, movement speed and all those things. We also get a good amount of life, resists, and overall defenses, and a little bit of attack damage as well. So it's actually a really good belt for this character. You could opt in to get minus 15 or attacks or explode chests as well as the other combs, as long as you just get some life, you know. We want to try to get 6k life from this character as we're a Berserker and we don't really have too many crazy defenses. As I've said earlier in this video, the Berserker Ascendancy offers a crazy amount of DPS. Basically what the Berserker Ascendancy is just being a pure DPS machine. We do not really get a lot of defenses unless we play Warcry, for example. And Warcry is something I have opted not to play for this particular build. The thing about Berserker though is that there is kind of an annoying ramp up mechanic based on different things that I have chosen in the Ascendancy skill tree. The main thing is that we utilize a thing called Rage. So every time we attack, we gain one stack of Rage, but it cannot happen too often. So it's like a slow mechanic building up Rage, and you can see in the top left corner that I'm losing Rage stacks because I am not able to DPS any form of monster or Sirus right now in that case. So as long as you're not actually attacking anything, you're losing Rage, and when you attack, you gain Rage, but you gain Rage at a slow pace. And Rage gives us a ton of DPS if we have a lot of stacks of it. The highest form of Rage stacks that we can have is 50, and we always want to be as close to 50 as possible at all given times. Now, another mechanic that we utilize when we play Berserker or play with Rage is the Berserk skill as well. When you have Rage, you can activate Berserk and that will give you an insane amount of DPS. But when you activate Berserk, you will lose Rage even faster. The way that you use this is, it's like a cooldown, it's like a DPS cooldown for those people who played games where you have like a DPS cooldown. You kind of want to go into a boss room, you want to pop your totem, you want to pop your flasks, you want to have 50 Rage stacks at that time, then you want to pop Berserk and just melt any boss as hard as you can. But without Rage stacks, you can't really activate Berserk, and when you activate Berserk, you're going to lose those Rage stacks really fast. So if you don't have any, if you haven't killed the boss after your Berserk and your Rage stacks are gone, then you're just going to have to start like having low DPS and just get that ramp up damage once again. That kind of makes Sirus a pretty annoying boss. As you can see when I'm attacking Sirus, you can see the Rage counter go up and down and up and down, and my DPS is sometimes a little bit slow, but then all of a sudden it gets better as well. And that's one of the boring things about Berserker, is that when you enter a boss room like Sirus, it's going to take a while to get the Rage stacks up and actually get some good form of DPS. A great way to use Berserk though is to get a helmet enchant that gives Berserk has 40% reduced Rage loss per second. So when you activate like Berserk, you're going to lose Rage much slower and you can have Berserk up for a longer time, which means that you can just pump out a crazy amount of DPS. But still, you need to have any form of Rage stacks to actually make that possible. And the more Rage stacks you have, obviously the better. Other than that, you know, Berserker still gives a crazy amount of DPS and it's still super fun to play because of all the DPS that you get. And when you actually do have Rage and Berserk activated, it's just completely insane. I'm like, we're talking 8, 9, 10 million DPS on a character that has no investment whatsoever, just absolutely destroying endgame content. I'm like, this kill right here, I was in phase 2 gear, and I'm killing Sirus easier than I'm doing with my other character that's 20x invested. I got 5x invested into this character and I'm just destroying this guy. And when you can use Leap Slam as well, this fight becomes so much easier because Leap Slam just ignores so many mechanics, and Leap Slam is just so easy to use as well. Just jumping around the room, just dodging those die beams makes it super easy. So yeah, you know, Berserker is a great lot of fun, and it has a crazy amount of DPS, and I really had fun making this character. Obviously, if I would have phase 3 gear, I would have even more insane amounts of DPS, but even with just a 6-link Terminus Est, some good rings, a good amulet, I'm able to kill Sirus like it's nothing, really. So yeah. But like I said, not really too much fun for a boss like this still because of the rage mechanic and all that stuff, but still works really fine. Another mechanic as well that we have to ramp up is a thing called Blitz. And Blitz is based off our critical strikes against different enemies. And when we gain Blitz stacks, we gain a massive amounts of attack speed as well, which makes us leap slam super fast and just do tons of DPS as well. But the Blitz stacks go up pretty damn quickly. You can see the Blitz stacks up there as well, currently at 12, 13, 17, whatever. So yeah, the Blitz stacks are also fantastic, and it gives us a ton of DPS. So yeah, Berserker is the way to go if you want to have a ton of DPS without any form of investment, or you want to play Warcry, which is pretty crazy as well. And yeah, look at that loot as well. Not bad loot indeed. And thank you very much for watching the video. I highly appreciate everyone swinging by the Twitch channel as well that a lot of people have been doing lately. So remember to go follow me on Twitch, where I stream almost daily, twitch.tv/burgerbrush, and remember to drop the subscription here on YouTube. And thank you very much once again, and have a great day, everybody.